Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be comparing all Soviet Tier 10 medium tanks to find out which one is going to be the best suited for you and which one is going to be the best one in general out of the four. So sit back and enjoy this video. Now, a lot of these Tier 10 mediums have been changed in the update of 10.3. That's why we're doing this video sort of as an update to find out which one is going to be the better one for you. Now, if we look at the Object 140, we can see that this tank has some mega crazy DPM at 3,816. No other medium in the Soviet faction, of course, do not come close. The closest one is the 907 with 3,500. And of course, the T62A and the T22 medium both have around 3,400 DPM. So the 140 is going to be crazy when it comes to DPM. Also, when it comes to mobility, the 907 and the 140 are going to be very, very similar at 60 kilometers forward and a very similar power to weight ratio of 23 horsepower per tons. So again, the 907 and 140 are very similar to each other because they are not very well armored, but they have very decent guns. So the 140 has a much better dispersion rate than the 907, but the 907 has a much better aim time than the 140. Again, both of these tanks barely have any armor on them, which obviously sucks, but the 140 and 907 are sort of lightly armored mediums that are going to be faster, but with a better gun and better DPM. In my opinion, the 140 is going to be better than the 907, guys, just because of the fact that this tank has monstrous DPM. The reload time on the 140 is 4.72. This is insane. I feel like a lot of people downplay the 140 just because the T62A got some good armor. The 140 is going to shred you. The 140 is absolutely going to shred you to bits, and I think this is something very, very cool, of course. Now, if we compare the 62 and the T22 medium, these tanks are going to be a little bit slower at 55 and 56 kilometers forward, with a power to weight ratio of 18.62 and 20 horsepower per ton, but these tanks have armor. Let's be honest, the T22 medium still has one of the craziest side profiles in the game with a very good turret, and the T62A has a very good turret as well, but some decent hull armor as well, to be fair. So a lot of mediums will not be able to pen the T62A frontally, and this is going to be quite an issue. Now, if you're sort of a position player and you like to take positions, I would definitely recommend the T62A, because this tank is going to allow you to take a certain position, go a little bit hull down, because this tank has 7 degrees of gun depression, and then pretty much use your armor to smack up all the mediums. Other than that, if you rely heavily on armor, then the T62A is going to be specifically for you. Now, the T22 medium, on the other hand, is going to be an in-between of the T62A and the 140/907. Now, the difference between the 140 and the 907 is the fact that the DPM is monstrous on the 140 and some stats are better on the 907. In my opinion, if you have the 140, you don't really need the 907. Like, that's going to be my simple judgment. You really don't necessarily need it because they are very, very similar. It's just that if you have the money/gold, you can buy the 907. But if you just want to stick to the tech tree version, then the 140 is still a great, great tank, especially in the modern battlefield. But then again, you have to be skilled to use this tank. This tank is basically like a Leopard now, and you actually need to be very skilled in order to play this tank. And I'm not kidding, you actually need to play the game well, so try and stick to that. Now, the T22 medium is again something in between. If you have the 140 and the T62A, and the T22 is going to be sort of that offensive tank, which is always on the first/second line, and it's again made for more or less skilled players because your frontal armor is going to suck relatively, but your side profile is going to be very, very good. So you need to know when to turn and how to block the enemy shots. But if you do know that, the T22 medium is also a very good choice. But it does have the worst sort of weapon handling, I would say, out of all the tanks. Because the aim time is low-key very, very bad on this tank. But the dispersion is actually all right. And of course, it has the worst DPM out of all of these tanks, so you have to keep that in mind as well. This tank is, again, for players who know what they are doing. So, in my opinion, T62A will be for the newbies, the 140 and 907 for very skilled players, and the T22 medium right in between as a, decent tank in between these, which has best of both worlds. It has decent mobility, it has a good gun, it has everything you need in general. So tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And with that, Happy is out, and I'll definitely see you guys next time. Bye-bye.